Okay, Yeshikoyach for joining. It's super exciting to be able to Dabish created such beautiful technology that I'm sitting here in Reykjavik. It's amazing. I was just watching the sunset. It takes so long for the sun to set. It's still a little, it's at 11:21. The sun didn't fully, it's the sunset, but it's not dark. And it helps us understand so much about what we were learning about in the Seder Achnas Shabbos from the Alter Rebbe. Anyway, okay. We want to learn something exciting tonight because Gut Yom Tov, Gut Yom Tov, Gut Yom Tov. It's Chamisha Asor Be'ov Loi Hoya Yomim Tovim LiYisrael. This is a great Yom Tov. And there's a landmark Sicha from the Rebbe had on Maseches Makis that is connected to that's connected to Shabbos Nachamu and the Indian of Nachamu. Chazal say that Nachamu Ami is loko b'keflaim, is Nachamu b'keflaim. So the shaila is, what does it mean? What does it mean loko b'keflaim, or what does it mean misnachem b'keflaim? If the Eibishter comforts them, he comforts them. What's the keflaim? What's the double? So the Rebbe made a siyum at Shalom Adalad and Shabbos Nachamu on Maseches Makis. The Gemara at the end of Makis says a story. They were going on the road, and they heard they heard tumult from Rome, from the city of Rome. It was 120 mil away, and they could already hear the tumult and the hoo-ha going on in the city of Rome. They started to cry. But Akiva was laughing. They said, why are you laughing? He said, why are you crying? They said, they said, how could it be that these goyim who bow to Avodah Zarah, at that time the Romans were over the Avodah Zarah, and by us, the footstool of the Eibishter is the Beis HaMikdash, and it's sort of Be'esh, we won't cry. That's why I'm laughing. If this is the pleasure and the good life that the Eibishter gives to those that do the Eibishter's Ratzon, it must be much, 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 much bigger. Shuv Pamach, the second story happened. They were going up to Yerushalayim, when they came to Mount Scopus. They did kriya on their begodim, like you're chayiv to do when you see the Makom HaMikdash. Kimishi Giyu LaHarabais, and they came to Harabais, they saw facts coming out from the place of the Kodesh Kadoshim. They were crying, Rabbi Akiva Masachim, Rabbi Akiva was laughing. They said to Rabbi Akiva, why are you laughing? He said to them, why are you crying? They said to him, place where it says that a foreigner that gets close will be put to death. We're not going to cry. He said to them, Bekiva said, that's why I'm laughing. It says, the Pasuk says that there's going to be two faithful witnesses that are going to testify for the Eibishter. It's Uriah, Kohen, V'Zcharia, Berachio. Uriah, it's Zcharia. Uriah, V'Migdash Rishon, V'Zcharia, V'Migdash Sheni. What do you mean they're testifying together as a peer, as a witness? They lived in different times. The Migdash Rishon, Migdash Sheni. How can you put them together? And the Torah is trying to tell you that the two nevuas are really linked with each other. It says by Uriah, because of you, the Tzion, Har Tzion, Mount Zion, the Beis HaMikdash, will be like a field, will be plowed and destroyed. But the other prophet, Eschaya, says, "Oid Yeshu skenim skenis b'recheves Yerushalayim." Before there was a fulfillment of the Nevuah of Uriah about the destruction that will be plowed like a field. I was scared the Nevuah of Zechariah about the Skenim and the Skenis, but Chevish Shalayim wouldn't be fulfilled. Now that the Nevuah of Uriah was fulfilled, and there is a destruction, I know that Nevuah of Zechariah will be fulfilled. These are the words they said to him. Akiva nechamton, Akiva nechamton. The Rebbe asks a ton of questions in here. First, the Rebbe says a person is going to say, this is it's Agadat. First of all, sometimes you do learn from Agadat if it's not a stira to halacha. Number two, sometimes a svara in Agadat, we do learn halacha from it. Number three, over here it's not stam Agadat, it's a Ma'aser Rav. This is a poshta Ma'aser Rav. And b'chol hashas kula, Ma'aser Rav is something very, very powerful, especially Rebbe Akiva. Rebbe Akiva, we say kula, the whole shas is alibud Rebbe Akiva. And the fourth point is that this is not stam a story in the Gemara. We learn from here that this is a halacha. The Gemara says, "Kimi shigir lahar etzoyvim koru bigdaim the dina le'evedochi." That's what the Rabbeinu Gershom says. It's negeiatak la'aloch if you look into Shulchan Aruch or Rechaim Siman Tov Kuf Samach Aleph. So it's not stam an Agadat. It's a Gemara that Ma'aser Rav and halacha. So the question is, what was the machloikis between Rebbe Akiva and the other Chacham? And I mean, it's like makotza lakotza. The Chachamim are crying and he's laughing. Why are they crying? Why is he laughing? What's the nekuda? What's the point of this machlokes, and what can we learn from this? And then there's a whole bunch of simple questions. What kind of language that we keep saying? Why are you crying? Isn't it obvious why they're crying? He himself tore his begodim in the second story. Why did he tear his begodim? So why is he asking why are you crying? And also, why are they using the pasuk Azara Kor of Yumas, which is talking really technically about doing avoida? Why didn't they use another pasuk? This year, when we were doing kinnis, I was thinking that Rambam this year was about Azara Korev, that anyone that's not a kohen is not allowed to do avoida or enter certain places in the base of Mikdash. It was interesting. Okay, and then what kind of languages that Rabbi Akiva is saying that he had a doubt about the nevuah of a Navi? Eschaya said, "Oy di'eshu zekenim uskenois," and Klal Yisrael accepts the nevuah. Manov, it's Dvar Hashem. So Rabbi Akiva said he had a doubt. He had a doubt. A suffix if the nevuah will be neskayim. Chazal say, "Kol dibur v'dibur sheyotzim epi HaKadosh Baruch Hu l'teva afil atnai lo yishlozer boi." So what kind of doubt would it be in the mind of Rebbe Akiva about the nevuah of Zechariah? And why did he bring the pasuk about the destruction? See in Soda Techoresh. There's hundreds of psukim about. Why did Dafka bring this pasuk about the Churban? And why is it that the Gemara emphasizes who the other Amiroim are? A lot of times when it says, the story it says, Kvar hoyer Rebbe Akiva v'azakenim ma'alchim. And why is it on the first story they didn't say Akiva Nechamton? And the second time, then they said it twice. The Mashal says the second story said it twice, also the first story. But the Pashtos, the two stories didn't happen the same day, didn't happen in the same place. So why is it that only in the second story they said Akiva Nechamton and they said it on double osh? Unbelievable. The Rebbe says, and I'm just going to go into the Nakuda of the Lamdas. There's two questions that the Sdei Chemed, different places that the Sdei Chemed asks. And he brings a machloikis achronim apoiskim, what the din should be. A person could fast in Sum Gedalia, no problem. But he knows that if he fasts in Sum Gedalia, it's likely that it's likely that he won't be able to fast Yom Kippur. So do you go with the here and the now? I could fast on some Gedalia. So let me fast. What's going to be Yom Kippur? Whatever. We'll see Yom Kippur. Or we say no. Some Gedalia is very important. Maybe it's Divrei Kabbalah. Maybe it's Derabanan. Very important. But still, Yom Kippur is Deraisa. So you have to take it in account. If you know the fasting on Tzum Gedalia will not allow you to fast Yom Kippur, don't fast on Tzum Gedalia. Similar to that, there's another shaila, and we spoke about it once. They never had a koch in this. If you, for example, a bris milah, a person has a choice to make zirizim magdim and make it 6 o'clock in the morning. People are running, they're coming, they're going to be 20 people come to the bris, they're going to be there 5 minutes, they'll grab a bagel, cream cheese, and they'll leave. Zirizim magdim l'mitzvahs, he made it early in the morning. The other option is he can make 6 o'clock in the afternoon, a beautiful breeze. There'll be 300 people that will come. He'll make a fleishik suda. They'll sit there for a long time because it's after work, a nice summer day. It'll be beautiful. They'll sit there from 6 till 9 o'clock. It'll be a beautiful breeze. So what is goiver? The hidr mitzvah that will do the breeze 12 hours later, or ziriz magdinim mitzvahs do 12 hours earlier, but less hidr. Now you could nitpick and say that Rebbe Hamadas Melech is not a part and parcel of the mitzvah, what they call a zaytik ezach. It's a side point. Okay, so if that's what you argue, so that's a separate issue. But if you agree that Rebbe Hamadas Melech is integral to the mitzvah, it's a chelik of the mitzvah. So there is, on the one hand, there is the mila of Zirizim Magdim L'mitzvahs to make it 6 o'clock in the morning. And then the other hand, there's a mila of Harev Hamadas Melech. You can make it 6 o'clock in the afternoon. I'm sitting here, I'm sorry, you look at the northern lights. I'm not looking now at the northern lights. My daughter, I think, made this cute thing on the background on the computer. But there's still light in the sky. And right now, it is 11:33. There is still light in the sky. It's remarkable. When I get back, remind me, I'll explain why this is so critical to the Alter Rebbe's understanding and explaining the sugya of Shkia. These are two very good questions. The Rebbe says that this was the machlokes of Rebbe Akiva and the Zkenim. You have to understand where the Akiva is coming from and where the Zkenim are coming from. Rebbe Akiva's shita was better to think about Yom Kippur and not to fast now. Better to make the bris 6 hours later and should be with more hidur. The Rebbe Gamliel and the Zkenim said no. Hapi aloch, it's the here and the now. Fast right now, Tzum Gedalia. A few days later, Yom Kippur, we'll worry about it then. And same thing, you can make the bris 6 in the morning, make it 6 in the morning. This is Magdin mitzvahs, the here and the now. Because the hiddur mitzvah is only going to come 12 hours later. So we'll deal with that then. But right now, grab the baby, make the bris right now. That's why the Gemara says who the Zkenim were. The Zkenim were big tzaddikim. And avodas tzaddikim is that's the attitude. Rebbe Akiva, if Rebbe Akiva thought about the here and the now, we would never have Rebbe Akiva. He was far from a Talmid Chacham at the age of 40. But there was determination. And he could see that there's anguish now that he can't learn, but he's going to turn it around. And if the rock could be split through water, the waters of Torah could penetrate into him. Rebbe Akiva didn't look at the here and the now. Rebbe Akiva has the long view, ki'ilu, and the Chachamim have the short view. They look at the here and the now. This halacha discussion translates also in the attitude towards Chamisha Sabav. This is the attitude that differentiates between Rebbe Akiva and the Zkenim. And we see it in the two stories. What was the question? He asked him, why are you crying? Obviously, they're crying. Like, that wasn't the question. Gemara says, "Ischilu lifkes." Now they started to cry. He says, "Now you're crying? You're crying now? Why do you think the Chachamim went to Rome?" Let's analyze Octavia for a second. They went to see the Roman Colosseum. They had tickets to see the Yishay Rebo show. I'm saying it because my children. Why are they going to Rome? There must have been Xeris against the Jewish people. And they're trying to appease the government. So that this is Churban Sheba Churban Sheba Churban. So why are you crying now? Why didn't you cry earlier? So the truth is they could have answered, yeah, we know that the Romans are living such a good life, but when we see it, it hurts. It rips our heart apart. But it's not what they answered. It's not what they said. They said, Beisra, Hadoim Ragle Lekeinu, sort of Beish, Valolu, Yoshim Hashked Levetach. That's what they said was that Chazal say, Valavonim Ba'adar Yipo, that the Beis HaMikdash will be destroyed by the most powerful government. Why? Because Hakal Afiyam Avayis Vamezbaish. There's a big difference. The Eibishter didn't want that the Eden should suffer and be tormented by Shvela, because if there was a bunch of vagabonds that managed to torment the Jews, it's embarrassing. But if it's the superpower of the world that tormented the Jews, so then it's not as embarrassing. If you look at history, the Rahman al-Aslan, the Eden usually suffered from the strongest power and that generation. So they said, we understand why the Eibishter made that the Romans should be Yoshua Hashked Vevetach. But now that Beis Elokeinu Sarov Beish, it's already Sarov Beish. So why they have to be now sitting Hashked Vevetach? And it's a huge Chilul Hashem, and it's a Chilul Shem Shemaim, a Chilul Yisrael. It's the covet of the Eibishter and the covet of the Eden. So therefore, they're crying. So what did Rebbe Akiva answer? Rebbe Akiva said, you're looking at the here and the now. Let's take a long view. Let's take a long view. Let's take a long view. The long view is that in the first story, if the Eibishter gives over Ritzoynoi, there's a statement here that Oyster Ritzoynoi have to get 100 times more Me'ez Shiorim. So why are you looking at the here and the now? Look at the long view. When the Eibishter is giving them, it's pittance. The Eibishter will give the Eden Me'eh Pomim Kocha. And in the second story. In the second story was even a bigger chiddush. In the second story, he said that there's a posuk. That what was the posuk? Tzion soda techoresh. Just like when you take a field and you plow it, it's not to ruin the field because you want to plant. Now, how good is it going to be the tfuah? Depends how much work. If you really plowed it good and you worked hard, there could be chitim kekloyes. Chazal said Mashiach will come. Every chit will be like a kidney. It could be like Yitzchak Avinu. It will be Me'eh Shorim. So how big is going to be the beauty of the Geula? Rebbe Akiva said, we said, Oid Yeshu Skenu V'Skenes B'Rechoves Yerushalayim, that the Skenu V'Skenes, they're not going to be in a nursing home. They're going to be vibrant in the streets of Yerushalayim. How spectacular will that be? I didn't know. For sure he knew that the Nevuah would be in Skayim, but Melua. The question is, how spectacular will it be Moishe Mashiach? So now that he sees that the shul is Yotzei and Beis Kodesh HaKadoshim, that the pain is so big, so now when we turn it around, the shul didn't have to come out with Beis Kodesh HaKadoshim. When we say the pasuk, he brought the pasuk Azor HaKor of Yumas, that is talking about even about a Kohen Gadol, if he's going Shalom B'Shas Avodah, is considered Azor. The shul could come from a different heichel, from a Azorah. It comes from Kodesh HaKadoshim. The pain couldn't be deeper. So now it's going to have to be turned around. So I know that the Geula and the Yeshua is going to be on the most spectacular way. I didn't know how spectacular the Geula is going to be. Now that I see facts coming out of the Kodesh HaKadoshim, I know how spectacular the Geula is going to be. When Rebbe Akiva sees an obstacle, when Rebbe Akiva sees pain, he doesn't see the pain. He sees the gain. When he sees a nisoyin, he sees a challenge. He sees how it could turn around. There's a different way of looking at life. The truth is that Rebbe Akiva, we know, is the story of Kol Madav Derachmon Latav Ovid. But then we spoke about it recently that Rebbe Akiva was traveling, and then he wanted to stay in a city. No one would give him a place to stay. And then he went into the forest, and the lion came up, ate up his donkey, and then a chostel came and ate up his rooster, and the wind blew out his candle. And everything is a kol ma'adav derachmona l'tava, everything is for the good. The Rebbe says that these three stories are one step, step one, step two, step three. L'tava, it means right now it's bad. Right now it's bad, but it's l'tava. A person says Baruch Dayanemes, even if later something good will come out of it. The Gemara says that the water came and flooded his field. Later something good will come out of it. Right now it's bad. He says Baruch Dayanemes. So the first story, and that's a story that's brought la'aloch and Shulchan Aruch Siman Reish Lamed, and the Chacham wouldn't argue on that. But the second story is even a bigger chiddush, and the third story is even a bigger chiddush. Second story is that we see that the goyim are having a good life. We say no. Don't look at the short view. Look at the long view. This is to make a statement. What's going to be lo'iser etzayne. Third story is even the biggest. Right now, the churban. Right now, it's sodat techoresh. It's like a field which is being plowed. It should be able to grow the most beautiful chitim kekloyes. Like chitim, like kidneys, and that's why. And when he brought a raya from a pasuk, that you're right, Nacham Tona, it's a double nachama. The double nachama is that not only the long view will it be spectacular, but we will see the pasuk says, "Oit Hashem ke'anaf tabi." We're going to thank the Eibishter for the challenges we had. Why are we going to thank the Eibishter? Because we're going to see how those challenges turn around to become a blessing and become a strength. It's just a silly thing. Sometimes, there's germophobics, and and then the kids grow up and they go out in the street, they get a little sniffle, they get sick. Most parents, they let the kids climb around, so they build up a healthy immune system. So Chazal say in the Parsha, v'neshantim, in the Chumash that we're reading this week, that the Eibishter said that Stokos HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Rashi brings it, that he brought the Puranis 2 years earlier, that it shouldn't be v'avadatim, that it shouldn't chas v'shalom, Eden shouldn't be totally lost. So Rebbe Akiva in the Churban, he sees that this is a part of the rebirth of the Geula, and that's the attitude that Rebbe Akiva teaches us in life. And that's much more than just Kol Ma'adav Derachmon L'Tav Ovid. And Kol Ma'adav is not an easy thing as well. But this is something which is, especially when it comes to suffering of all Klal Yisrael, Rebbe Akiva says that I expect that a Jew will understand that not only in the long run it's good, but the suffering itself turns out to the benefit of the Yid. It's like plowing the field to make that later it should grow beautifully. And because he brought a raya from a posuk, Chacham said, "Nekiva nechamton, Akiva nechamton." And this is the short of the version of the Rebbe Sicha. You can look at the Rebbe Sicha. It's in Chelik Yutes Shabbos Nachamu, and this is like I said, a Sicha the Rebbe said Shabbos Nachamu Tov Shalom Medalad L'chaim L'chaim. This is an unbelievable lesson for this Shabbos Nachamu. There are points in our life that are painful, and the shaila is how we view it. Rebbe Akiva's view is the long view. Rebbe Akiva's view is not only the long view. Rebbe Akiva's view is to say that the Eibishter is Teva Tov Lahetiv, and this itself is Tachlis HaTov. So the Eibishter should help that we should see Tachlis HaTov, that we should see that the Oid Yeshu Zakenim Uzakenus Bechovis Yerushalayim in the most spectacular way that could be. That we should see amidst Hashem Bias Mashiach Tzidkenu, and together with all the Botei Mikdashos Me'at, that we should be flying to Eretz HaKodesh Bevias Mashiach Tzidkenu for the building of the Beis HaMikdash HaShlishi. Thank you very, very much for joining. And I'm sorry I'm not going to be the Shabbos, but Mitzvah Shem I'll be the next Shabbos, and hopefully much before that, all of us will not be in Flatbush. Rather, we're going to be in Eretz HaKodesh hearing Torah Shel Mashiach. Okay, a guten Shabbos, a glücklichen Shabbos.